So with thanks then to Dave Goddard and to Duncan Douglas for their efforts, we can continue now. And as I was mentioning earlier on, frustratingly under yet another safety car period, this one being the 9th such. And we are just coming through and let's have a quick look in total how long we've actually been under safety car during the race as a whole thus far. Certainly more than an hour of time out of the 7 hours that have now been completed. In fact, doing the sums, it's actually just over 2 hours now under the safety car of the 7, and most of those, well, in fact all of those 2 hours have been in the last 4 hours. So we had 3.5 hours with no safety car at all, and then 3.5 hours, of which 2 hours have been safety car driven. But we're now back to green flag with that most recent safety car lasting just 10 minutes and enabling us now to get back underway with green flag racing. And into the pits has, as we thought it might be, come Richard Grindrod. So 419 coming into the pits just as the safety car withdrew, didn't he? Yes. 419. In fact, he came in on the previous lap, so the pit stop is possibly coming towards its completion now. So yes, just as Dave Goddard was departing the scene, that was when Grindrod chose to come into the pits for his stop. So that will be a driver change. The Eastgate Automotive racing car, which we said David Drinkwater had brought into the pits, that has had what we'll call a proper driver change in that one, because that is now Dan Collett behind the wheel of the car, but it's lost a lap in the pits whilst the driver changes have been happening, because Chris Chadwick had more fuel aboard in any case on the Team C'est La Vie car, and so he's been able to stay out just a little bit longer and has been able to take the benefit of having come into the pits a little bit later than everybody else has done. So he's had more fuel aboard the car and so has been able to go a little bit longer on his tank full of fuel. Let's do a quick change of setup to make life appear a little bit easier. Most of the cars all together now, of course, because of the green flag having been shown at the start-finish line. Safety car pulling off, and we get racing underway again. Hopefully this will be, I thought for that last session we were going to get a slightly longer period under green flag racing. 118 laps now completed, 118 laps in the books, and a little over 7 hours of the race now complete. And still another 5 hours or so before we're going to get some daylight to brighten things up, but at least for the moment, at least the rain has gone away. And looking at the weather forecast, the chance of rain is forecast for between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. So still some rain showers to come overnight with 50% degree of probability, it suggests here. And so we'll see what happens on that score. And lap times coming down a little bit with the result of that pit stop, which we just had from the Viking car, number 419, the car having been brought in by Richard Grindrod. That car now has Duncan Stone behind the wheel of it, and as a result of that, Chris Chadwick in the Team Sailor V car now has a full lap of an advantage over the whole rest of the field. It's not much more than a lap. The two of them close together on the track still. In fact, separated by just a couple of seconds on the track. But if you can pick out who's out there, just a couple of seconds separating Chris Chadwick from Chris Nylon in the Citroen Racing Citroen. But let's say 1 lap separates the race lead. Chris Chadwick has a full lap of an advantage, but doesn't have much fuel aboard on his car. So he will be looking to make a pit stop fairly shortly. Similarly, Chris Nyland will be in not long after that. Coming in now is Will Rayson in the 367 car. Not Will Rayson, Andy Mollinson, beg your pardon, in the 367 car. That car, the PrepTech UK car, Andy Mollinson will be coming in to hand the car over probably to Paul Bancroft, for he is the only driver yet to drive that car. And we'll see who is given as the replacement driver. So PrepTech UK up into 4th place then with the 367 car. But that car coming in having done 44 laps on its most recent tank full of fuel. And so then we wait for who will be the first to blink. Will it be Chris Chadwick? And I think it probably will. He has less fuel aboard in the Sailor V car, but he'll be trying to eke it out as far as he can, and then hope that the pit stop goes as efficiently as it possibly can. But of course the problem for him is that some of the competition pitted when it was a safety car, and that might have enabled them to get a bit of an advantage. So a finely balanced race. Patrick Watts, meanwhile, has moved up in the 385 car, Circuit Pro car. He is now in 6th place behind the number 321 Daniel Bruce, and then behind Patrick Watts in the Toll Bar Racing car 333 is Alex Day, now behind the wheel of that car, which was put up into that strong position by a sterling effort earlier on, including a stint from Rob Austin that brought the car up into a similar sort of position, about 6th place I think Rob Austin got the car up to. Alex Day not having quite as much good fortune because he's had to sit behind the safety car for much of his stint, but now reaping the benefits, although coming towards the end of the stint. So amongst the top 10, I think we're going to be seeing 4 or 5 of them into the pits within the next 5 or 6 minutes, and that could change the complexion of the race just a little bit. So, fastest lap out there of the recent ones, Macatak Racing, once again, in 14th place in the 347 numbered car. Macatak having had the benefit of Joe Wiggin earlier on. Simon Walker-Hansel now back at the wheel. He was the start driver and only a 3-driver team, so Simon Walker-Hansel on the start of the car. Declan McDonald took it over from him. Joe Wiggin then did the third stint and did some personal bests, and now Scott Walker-Hansel is Simon Walker-Hansel is just trying to prove now that he is just as good, because he's just set a 3 minutes 3.209, so track conditions pretty much everything that he wants them to be. Unfortunately, following its troubles earlier on, Macatak down in 14th place and 3 laps back from the race leader. Still the Preptech UK car 367 in the pit lane, and the car has now been in the pits for some 4 minutes, receiving the attention of its pit crew, but that's an unprecedented amount of time for a normal pit stop. They will take around about 5 minutes in the pit lane. UK back out onto the circuit. Andy Mollinson hands the car over to Paul Bancroft, and so he is safely on his way now in the 367 car, and that's another team now that's completely cycled through their drivers. 3 pit stops, 4 drivers all having driven the car now, and that car 367 having started off with Matthew Turnbull behind the wheel. He handed over to Will Race, and then Andy Mollison's had a stint, and now Paul Bancroft, the 4th driver at the wheel of the car for Preptech UK, and he's fallen down to 10th place now. He'll fall down a little bit further before the end of the stint. And just checking the cars around as last lap for Chris Chadwick, a 3 minutes 5 compares to a 3 minutes 4 for Chris Nyland at the wheel of the Citroen Racing Citroen, and Duncan Stone for Viking a 3 minutes 9. So still quite varied lap times amongst that leading group of cars. Chris Chadwick in the C'est La Vie team car, and he's coming through Luffield now. Is he going to stay out for another lap, or is he going to be coming in at the end of this one? Wait and see what happens as he comes through Luffield. Then a big train of cars is coming through, and pretty much all of them are going to stay out there. And so 349 is amongst them, does go through and do another lap. So Chris Chadwick then maintains his lead of a lap. 2 cars 1 lap behind the race leader. Chris Nylon for Citroen Racing, Duncan Stone for Viking, separated by 1.5 minutes, those two. Car to look out for at the moment, probably Alex Day, the 333 Tollbar Racing car, catching up, would you believe, on Patrick Watts. So Patrick, slightly slower lap that last time around, 3 minutes 11. Possibly, dare I say it, Patrick struggling a bit in the night time, but anyway, still going nicely. And a change there for 8th place, as up into 8th place on that lap comes Dan Collett, overtaking James Kenyon in the Kraken Motorsport car. Dan Collett's lap time for that lap is 3 minutes 8, and James Kenyon is 3 minutes 13. So much faster lap time, and enabling Dan to make up a place. Also making up a place on that lap from into 12th place, Ryan Bensley in the ASR car, taking advantage of Paul Bancroft. Yes, as Paul Bancroft gets up to speed following his pit stop. He lost a further 3 places whilst he was in the pits. So Paul Bancroft in the Prep Tech UK car, now down to 13th place. Day now right onto the tail of Patrick Watts, 1.8 seconds behind, and look out for where they are next time around. Simon Walker-Hansel putting in another personal best in the Macatak Racing Citroen, 3 minutes 2.979. That's only a 1/10 of a second slower than the overall best lap of the race, which is held by the Team C'est La Vie car when it was in the hands earlier on of James McIntyre-Ewer. And it's time 3:49 that holds the fastest lap of the race, 3 minutes 2.826, but a 3 minutes 2.979 from Scott Walker-Hansel isn't that far off the mark. Sammy Bowler in the Team Merlin car, she's enjoying herself as well. She said she was going to Duncan Douglas when he spoke to her. Car number 480 up into 11th place now. Losing ground to Ryan Bensley, who's on a bit of a charge in the ASR car, just goes through in 3 minutes 9.713 that time round, and is closing now to within 10 seconds of Sammy. And Alex Day goes past Patrick Watts, so Patrick is suffering a little bit in the Circuit Pro car there. And so as they cross the line, Alex Day is ahead now in 3.33. So Rob Austin got the 3.33 car up into 6th place from memory. And Alex Day has gone one better. He's got the car up into 5th place. And meanwhile, Chris Chadwick has gone through and done another lap. So he is now onto his 41st lap of this particular stint, and that's the same number of laps that were done by Richard Grindrod at the wheel of his car when he was at the wheel of it. So Richard Grindrod did 41 laps, and Chris Chadwick currently on his 41st lap. Chris Nyland on the 40th lap of his stint. Alex Day on his 41st lap of his stint. So possibilities that we'll get both Chris Chadwick and Alex Day in this time around. And then one lap later, Chris Nyland coming in with a 3.76, and that could elevate back, if not into the lead of the race, then very close to the lead of the race, the 419 Viking car. Duncan Stone lapping now as quickly as he's done since he's been in the car. A 3 minutes 7.532 is is Duncan Stone's fastest lap that he's done, not the car's fastest lap. The car's done a 3 minutes 3, but Duncan still getting to grips with that car. And another car has come adrift at Copse Corner. and stand on my headset wire, I'll be able to stand up. And the car, trying to fire itself up, has done some damage though, right rear, and I think even if he can fire it up, he's not going to be able to get the car going again. The right rear corner of that car just looking like it's hit the barrier. I think what he's done is he's gone straight on, hit the barrier, and then come back off the barrier, and is now sitting in the gravel bed on the exit of Copse Corner. Quite a long way round, has to be said. In fact, it's almost on the entrance into Maggots, because he's he's all the way around Copse Corner. He's just lost it. It's almost past the pit exit, in fact, where the pit exit blends in. Can't quite see which number it is from this angle. And at the moment waiting for a rescue unit to come to his assistance, and if the pace is going to slow, then an ideal opportunity for Chris Chadwick to make his pit stop. Meanwhile, Daniel Bruce in 4th place in the old hat car puts in a 3 minutes 04.164, the fastest lap that car has done. Rescue unit now coming to the assistance of the car at Copse Corner, which has come off having hit the barrier, and just trying to work out who it might be, who it was. Just wonder if it might be Miguel Fascia in the 306, but we'll pick it out when the rescue unit pulls it past the camera. Being passed out to be attached, and to the pits meanwhile has come the 464, sorry, the 454 racing car, and it's down in 38th place. It's 464 racing Chris Allen, who has come into the pits. 458 is listed on the screen as missing once again. First time that car has been listed as the missing car. Being Sam Stride in the Silver Lake racing car, and I don't think it's that car. I think that car is circulating all right, albeit down in 94th place. I think past it 2 minutes ago, and that car's been stationary for longer than 2 minutes, so it's not the car of Sam Stride. Is it Chris Chadwick? Because Chris Chadwick is listed as missing. He's not in the pit lane, and neither is he the leader of the race anymore. So I think it is Chris Chadwick. Well, there's the second time in the race our race leader falls off the circuit at Copse Corner. Different car, different race leader, different time of the race, completely different conditions. But Chris Chadwick, it is the Team C'est La Vie car, down into 2nd place. He was lapping very quickly, pushing as hard as he possibly could. But Chris Chadwick, I'm afraid, is off the track, and he is the one that has caused the rescue units up to Copse Corner in the 349 Team C'est La Vie car. Was the expression more appropriate, I fear, but definitely damage at the back of that car to the right rear, and although the car is attempted to be rescued, I think this might need a lift in order to get that right rear sorted. Now they're giving the thumbs up to the rescue unit. And what's he going to do? Is he going to pull it round, because there is a gap in the barrier back towards Copse Corner, and it may be they need to take it to the next gap around, because it is an awfully long way round Copse Corner. Yes, they're going to take it. Maybe not going to take it back to against the flow of the traffic. But whatever has happened to the right rear, they're not worrying about it, they're just going to drag it anyway. And cars slowing down. Local yellow at Copse Corner whilst the procedure unfolds, and I now see that it wasn't actually that far into the gravel bed, because the gravel bed gets a lot narrower at that point, and the car has been able to be towed out of the gravel, but I fear it's not going to be able to start up and get round a lap because of the damage that's been done to it. So, car being pulled back into the gravel bed in order to get it to behind this tyre wall. But pretty sure that is our former race leader, because Chris Chadwick was in the lead, now being shown in 4th place in 349. So Citroen Racing now leads the race. Chris Nylon, and Chris Nylon is still out there, still with fuel aboard, and he's now completed 43 laps on this tank full of fuel, total of 124 laps in the race overall. And the Silverstone Rescue Unit has now moved the car from the place where it was, and is now dragging it back close to the tyre wall. That looks like the C'est La Vie car. A little bit of light coming through from the rescue unit, and it's going to be able to be removed to that place of safety. Whether we'll see it again or not, judging by the adventures that a lot of other cars have had, I'm sure we will, but it's going to be a long way down, having just whilst it's been rescued lost 2 laps to the rest of the field, and so that was the race leader with a lap of an advantage, so it's lost 3 laps altogether from where it was. And to Chris Nyland, who is still out there, although he must be getting perilously close to the end of his stint now. Chris Nyland due in very soon to the pit lane for his pit stop. And so Copse Corner really has been the demise of many cars out there this weekend, and on 2 separate occasions, it's claimed our race leader. So Chris Chadwick, who was due to come into the pits in any case, but that didn't seem to me to be a fuel-related issue at all. It seemed to simply be damage caused as a result of the car hitting the barrier at Copse Corner. So new race leader then, Chris Nyland, Citroen Racing, now completed 124 laps. Just after 1 o'clock on Sunday morning here at Silverstone, 7.5 hours into the race, and into the pits now comes the 333 Tollbar Racing. Alex Day brings the car in, and who's going to be at the wheel of it next? Rob Austin was the previous driver. And yeah, so we'll pick that one out once it comes out of the pit lane. So Alex Day bringing the car in out to 4th place, and here's Chris Nyland in as well. So Chris Nyland brings the 376 into the pits, the Citroen Racing car, and of course Alex Day having just overtaken Patrick Watts. Patrick Watts immediately, once Alex comes into the pits, Patrick takes the place back, although Patrick coming to the end of his fuel stop to fuel. Patrick Watts will be into the pits fairly shortly as well for his next top-up of fuel in the Citroen, and then the car can probably, I would guess, go back to Simon Harrison, who started the race for the 385 team from the Circuit Pro car, number 385. So fuel going in to the Citroen Racing car. Shortly we'll be able to see where that's going to leave it, because I think whilst Chris Nyland is getting his fuel, so that's going to enable Duncan Stone for Viking to retake the lead in the 419 car. And of course 419 is a car that's been up at the sharp end much throughout the race. It's not led very much of the race yet. Just looking back through the lap chart. Yes, it did lead for a few laps after about 50 laps into the race, and yeah, led a couple of times in the early stages of the race, but is mainly on the pit stop cycles. But looks like Nick Grindrod, Richard Grindrod, Duncan Stone was the 3rd driver of the car, and a car that has done 4 pit stops because got the start drivers anymore, so 419 then driven earlier in the race by Nick Grindrod, handed over to Richard Grindrod, and then Duncan Stone having taken it over, and Duncan having been at the wheel of it now for nearly 10 laps, so just under half an hour, and Duncan's been going very rapidly in the car. 3 minutes 11 on his last lap though. It's a little bit of rain falling again, because we had a few laps that were down in the 3 minutes 3s. Tony Shirtcliffe going quickly. First time we mentioned him in the Team Tivoli car. He's down in 24th place, but it's just done a 3 minutes 6.142 personal best for his car. Lights flashing at Beckett, possibly. Let's see if there's anything there that we can pick up on. think, on helpers at the moment. We are green at Beckett. Somebody taking to the grass, going through Copse Corner there, very wide entry. I think that's what happens, is you do start going very wide on the entry into the corner, and of course that's why race directors are very keen that one observes track limits, because if you get used to just going through the corner flat out and taking armfuls of curb, then all of a sudden you can do damage where you don't, when you come back onto the circuit, or you can more easily go off and get the car into the gravel going at unabated speed. So pretty sure we are totally green around the circuit at the moment, and lap times reflecting that. Although it was a rather slow lap last time around from number 480, Sammy Bowler, who has indeed now been overtaken by Ryan Bensley in the 390 ASR car for 9th place now. Paul Bancroft in the Prep Tech car is immediately behind Sammy Bowler. Well, I say immediately behind, actually 50 seconds behind. So let's just review where we are. Just after 1 o'clock in the morning, 10 past 1 in the morning, and we've had 126 laps of the race. Duncan Stone leads the way now in the Viking car. He's completed 126 laps. He's 1 minute and 18 seconds ahead of Daniel Bruce in the MSAR Old Hat Motorsport entered car. Patrick Watts is then third now as the Circuit Pro. Never was a team more appropriately named than Patrick Watts Circuit Pro. He is 43 seconds behind Daniel Bruce and 6.7 seconds ahead of John Gladman, but John Gladman at the moment not quite lapping as quickly as Patrick, so he should be safe. John Gladman's in the 449 Orange Motorsport car. In 5th place is 318, that's the Eastgate Automotive Racing car, Dan Collett at the wheel, and he is 28 seconds behind John Gladman. Then it's Adam Burgess next up in 376, the Citroen Racing car, and he is a further 4.6 seconds behind. 7th is James Kenyon in the Kraken Motorsport car, number 411, 37 seconds behind Adam Burgess. And then next up is 394 in 8th place, Brian Trott in the AB Motorsport car, and he is 1 minute and 15 seconds behind James Kenyon. Those last two, James Kenyon and Brian Trott, are 1 lap behind, with the demise of the former race leader, who is looking how far down the 419 has now fallen. The 349 car, the Team C'est La Vie car of Chris Chadwick. Didn't seem that long ago when it had its problem, but Chris Chadwick has already dropped down to 57th place. So quickly does he drop down the order. So Chris Chadwick down to 57th place. So at the top of the field, this is still a pretty close race, because it wasn't that long ago when Chris Chadwick's car was spotted at Cox Corner. We didn't have a safety car for it. It just slipped down the order, and very rapidly did so indeed. So just going down on through the top 10, Brian Trott in 8th place, 33 seconds ahead of Ryan Bensley in number 390, the ASR car. He is 21 seconds ahead of Sammy Bowler in the Team Merlin car, 480, but falling away, Sammy, and falling into the clutches now. 47 seconds the gap coming down to now Paul Bancroft in the PrepTech UK car. Then it's Simon Walker-Hansel in the Macatak Racing car. He's only 8 seconds behind Paul Bancroft and closing on him. That could be a change that happens next time round. Paul Bancroft, we're just waiting for him to come into view now here at the Woodcote start-finish line. There he goes across the line. And there goes also across the line the race leader, now completing 128 laps, Duncan Stone. And it's John Gladman now who's gaining... Oh, Patrick Watts in the pits, that's what's happened. So 3rd place for Patrick Watts as he comes through on that lap. But Patrick coming into the pits. So good long stint that one from the mightily experienced Patrick Watts. And he is now in the pit lane, getting the car refueled. 45 laps for Patrick. Got in the car at nearly 3 hours in total behind the wheel. So much of it behind the safety car, admittedly, for Patrick, but pretty much 3 hours solid. So he'll take it from 4:45 right there up to 7:45. So yes, he was probably only about 5-10 minutes short of his overall driving time limit. And as Patrick comes in, the safety car comes out. So we had a little over half an hour, 40 minutes of green flag, but something has happened somewhere around the circuit that has caused the safety car to be out again. Safety car, yes, joins in at Copse Corner. Around the circuit to see why the safety car might be out. What is noticeable is that a lot of our closed circuit TV cameras showing rain falling again at various points around the circuit, well, right around the circuit really. So I suspect that has been the trigger to an incident happening somewhere around the circuit, which has warranted the appearance for I guess, and say the umpteenth time. I'll just check through and say 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the number of safety cars we've had up until now. So this being the 10th appearance of the safety car, and still looking around to see what might have been the trigger for this latest appearance. Still cars circulating reasonably rapidly to catch up with the tail of the safety car queue. Actually see any particular cause for this one. Looking around the circuit, looks clear, but we can't see the whole of the circuit even with the closed circuit TV cameras, and with the conditions the way they are, as I said earlier on, it's very often the local marshals on post that will make the call for a safety car at any particular time in order to get to a place where they need to make a recovery. So the safety car coming out 7 hours and 42 minutes into the race. So who it might have been on this occasion. A little too early to say at the moment. Amigo Motorsport possibly in 37th place. The Matthew Dawson car, number 380, possibly missing. Let's see whether he comes through. Time around for that car at 7:40 and 18. Not sure, and as I say, none of the circuit cameras quite giving us the clue we need, unless it's another incident far round Copse Corner, or if it might be around Copse Out. Ah, yes, it is. It's at the exit of Copse again, and the car, I think, is off then on the inside of the circuit, actually, at Copse Corner. But it's Copse once again that has caused the trouble. And the rescue unit is there in attendance. As the safety car brings the cars across the start-finish line once again. Various numbers of the cars coming into the pits again for further service, and an opportunity then, this time around, for Daniel Bruce to come in the second place car, 321. So that's one of the leading runners coming in. So Daniel Bruce, 321, in the old hat car, into second place and into the pit lane. And several others coming into the pits as well as the safety car continues to circulate. Patrick Watts had just that minute come in the Circuit Pro class, and that has enabled Simon Harrison then, as we suggested it would, to take over the car once again, but that car slipping down to 9th place. And which is that car which has come to rest? It is on the inside of the circuit and far around Copse Corner, right at the exit to Copse Corner. And looks like the car has hit the barrier on the inside of the circuit there at Copse Corner, which suggests possibly that we're going to need a slightly longer delay whilst the Armco barrier might need to be repaired. Much of the Silverstone circuit covered by tyre walls, which take impacts much more easily than Armco barrier does. When Armco barrier gets damaged, then very often there needs to be replacement, and that can lead to a longer period of safety car. So out in the lead of the race, it is Duncan Stone then at the wheel of the Viking car. 130 laps now completed under safety car at 23 minutes past 1 in the morning here at the Silverstone 24 Hours. The DS Distrigo Citroen C1 Challenge, and behind Duncan Stone in second place, the MSAR Old Hat Motorsport car now back out on the circuit, number 321, having had its pit stop, and that is now being shown as Charlie Hutchings behind the wheel. So look out for the Old Hat car going quickly once again. Sorry, not Charlie Hutchings, Callum Hutchings at the wheel of the 321 car in second place. In third place is John Gladman in the orange motorsport car, 449 laps completed, and then 318 is the next one up, Dan Collett at the wheel of 318, ahead of 376, who has just had a pit stop and is now in the hands of Adam Burgess, who's taken over from Chris Nyland at the wheel of that car. The Citroen Racing 376 car in 5th place overall, then in 6th place in the overall positions, car number 411, James Kenyon now at the wheel of the Kraken Motorsport Citroen number 411. So possibility of this being a slightly longer delay. Looks like the Citroen in question went through Copse just a little bit too quickly. The car swung round, but then rather than heading towards the outside, the car then gripped and took it straight on as a nose first and inside of the circuit, crossing the pit lane in so doing, and then bounced further down the road. But in so doing, looks like he might have damaged the Armco barrier, so this might be a slightly longer safety car period whilst the Armco is replaced. Rain continuing to drizzle down as it threatened it might do for a couple of hours in the early hours, but hopefully by the time daylight comes, hopefully a couple of hours before that, we'll have had some dry weather. Safety car trying to gather the queue of cars up behind it. And I'm guessing that as soon as we've collected together all the various bits of Citroen, it's going to be possible to bring that car back into the pit lane the wrong way. And once we get underway again, the delay won't be too great. Quick mention for the guys in the 351 GMP Development Stand Up to Cancer car. That's a car having had a 3-minute penalty earlier on, which was another of those penalties which was apparently a mistake, but having taken the 3 minutes they were a little bit too late to call it a mistake. But Michael Neuhoff now at the wheel of the 351 car, having his first turn at the wheel of the car, up into 29th place. So that car sticking with the programme and slowly getting back certainly onto the top screen of times. Now, what's happened to the car which has caused this safety car is now on the back, I do believe, of a flatbed trailer. And where is the flatbed going to take it? Might be going the opposite way and going up towards Beckett's to take it out of the way at the gap in the fence at Beckett's. Yes, it's certainly gone from where it was at Copse, and I think we might just have got away with the issue of the barrier. We'll see what happens. So the rescue unit then departs from Copse Corner and heads up towards Maggots, where it'll come off on the old national circuit and cover the car back to a place of safety on the national circuit. Yes, there he goes. So, still trying to work out who it might have been. It might actually have been if it was the, yeah, we did suggest it might have been the 380 car, Matthew Dawson. I'm tending to head towards that, the Amigo Motorsport car, Matthew Dawson, number 380. Possibly the car there will it's not circulating at the moment, and has fallen down to 50th place now in the times. Yes, we'll go with that one, the Amigo Motorsport car number car in position 50, car number 380, which caused that safety car period. And the car having